Super hot mic.
That's a hot mic you got there. All right.
Yeah.
Married with Channels podcast is back after a little spell involving, guess what?
Sickness edition style.
Germs.
That's right.
The GD germs.
Again.
And
it's again and again.
I think people are tuning in, all four of them, just to see like when they're not sick.
Ooh, people should take a pool on that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm Moose.
I'm Jody.
I'm the husband.
I'm the wife.
We do a podcast where we talk TV shows and movies. We got a couple shows and a movie this week, and they all start with B. It's the Triple B edition. Let's begin with Beef.
Yeah.
On Netflix. Stephen Yeun's in there. Ali Wong is in there. The premise of the show is this guy who's like a struggling handyman trying to get his business going.
Contractor, carpentry business. Yeah.
His parents lost a motel that they once owned, and they're back in Korea. He's trying to bring them back, bring the fam back together. And so one day he's pulling out of it's a fictionalized version of like Home Depot, and he almost bashes into this woman who's driving a Mercedes. Nice vehicle. He's driving a kind of a piece of shit old Toyota Tacoma. And road rage happens. He's chasing after her. She's kind of flipping him off big time. And
yeah. How many times do you see that play out in real life?
Not a lot.
What? You don't?
No.
I have.
No. I mean, driving Mabel to and from the school.
Yeah.
I don't see much of that at all.
Oh, my goodness.
Some guy, and I told you this.
Yeah.
Like pulled out in front of me. Like he's coming from my left-hand side, some side road, onto a main road, pulled out in front of me. And I just gave him like the honk honk, like, dude.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
And he did the thing with his hands, and he just looked at me, but it was very vague. He was doing like this world's smallest violin playing thing. But to this day, I don't know if he was just happened to like kind of maybe snapping his fingers to whatever music he was listening to.
I don't know.
I didn't affect him at all. Or if he was genuinely giving me the, hey, come on, here's your violin, crybaby.
Who knows? I have seen this road rage play out in real life at least a handful of times. At least. Like, not involving me, but I've seen others do it to each other.
But the road rage in Beef was pretty epic. It was like, cutting over landscaped corners of a road to catch up and threatening to plow into them with the vehicle.
Sure, but like, we're not following them all the way to completion here. Like, I don't know how far this stuff goes. Like, the stuff that I've witnessed. I'm not sticking around to find out. Like, I'm usually getting as far away as possible from that.
Yeah, I think we've all seen that bit of road rage.
Yeah. It's
like
scary this day and age. Like, you don't know what somebody's going to do.
No, I remember I saw a video of a guy, not to get off topic, but, it was his dash cam.
Yeah.
And somebody was agitating him. He kept looking in the mirror, and then he's kind of slowly pulling out of his center console a gun.
Oh, man.
And the person who's agitating him, you can see his eyes are coming slowly to the side of his vehicle. He just starts pop, 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 pop through his window.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you gotta get thicker skin out there on the roads. But anyway, Beef, this road rage incident happens, and it kind of affects both of our characters' lives.
They can't let it go. We'll just say that. They can't just have it be a bad day and move on. Yeah. Like, each character just kind of can't let this go.
But is it that they can't let it go, or that incident affected their lives separately and now they have to, I don't want to say change things in their lives?
I think they both have some bad circumstances happening in their life, and I think they're just like kind of channeling all of their rage and anger and frustrations with life into this incident, and kind of the escalation of this incident. That's my thoughts about it.
I think it's really forcing them each to address their lives.
Sure.
Take a 30,000 foot view of it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, the show has definitely got like class warfare type of stuff going on.
Yeah, like the haves and have-nots. Yeah.
Because Danny, Stephen Yeun's character, he's poor. He lives in some shitty apartment with his brother.
Yeah.
Who's trading Bitcoin all day and losing money. But and then Amy's very well to do. She's got her own shop where it's like this artisan plant shop, and she's negotiating a deal with as we mentioned earlier, the fake Home Depot. I forget what it's called.
I forget what it's called
like Flanders
too.
or Lauders or
I
something.
don't know. It's like a big box retailer store for your home.
She's working a deal with the owner of that to get her plants in the big box store and, be set.
Yep.
And make a big ton of money. So two different, definitely different lives, the haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
And so, what's missing from the show, I like the show. I think what's missing, and I don't need it to be like kind of because I think you can get too much into the sitcom-y type of stuff if you have essentially every episode one trying to get back at the other.
Sure.
It becomes like what's that old Mad magazine, Spy versus Spy thing? Then it becomes a little farcical maybe.
Sure.
But I think I'm missing a little bit of that. Now, that said, we've watched 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So based on the trailer, it looks like there's going to be more tit for tat going on.
I'm sure. Absolutely.
But I do like how they are kind of addressing, like, these two people's lives converged. And it hasn't changed their lives, but it has affected their lives.
Well, and like, there's some other parallels you can draw from this show too. Like, Danny is working to get his family back together. Amy has a family, but work is so important to her. And so there's just kind of, and, she kind of, I don't want to say she takes her family for granted, but she kind of doesn't prioritize them,
Interesting. That's an interesting point, because it's almost like he's trying to make money to get his family together. She is making money, but it could be pulling her family apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't really have a family. She does.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. No, but I think it's a good show.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix show, so who knows? It might be canceled tomorrow.
It might be because
they do.
Sometimes we like unpopular things.
Well, I remember,
we're like just not mainstream. Like everybody's watching it, everybody's talking about it. Like sometimes, I don't know. I think this is a good character one that I wouldn't be surprised if people.
No, it's got good character work. It's very well done.
Yeah.
The acting's great. There's definitely, it's good all around. The writing's great. I'm digging it. I'm just now looking to see where it is on the Netflix rankings, and I don't see it in that's movies. Anyway, I remember when it first came out, it got a lot. It's number 3 on top TV shows in the U.S.
All right. There's hope for us. So, we'll stick it out.
Yeah, we'll finish the season at least.
Yeah.
Anything else on Beef?
No, I like it. There's some intrigue and some, like you mentioned, good character stuff there. So good writing. So I like it. Thumbs up.
And Stephen Yeun's a good actor.
Yeah.
Like
I think all of that cast really is.
No,
even the aloof kind of, I don't want to say lazy brother, but he doesn't want to work too hard.
No.
Even that is not too kind of cheesy, over the top acting. You know?
But Stephen Yeun, like, Walking Dead didn't really do him justice.
Right.
I think he's really flexing some acting muscles here.
Absolutely.
But go check out Beef, because the more people watch it, the less likely Netflix will cancel it. Moving on to one of our favorites, Barry.
Yeah.
Back for season 4.
Yeah.
Where we left season 3 was Barry was going into Kusuno's now dead girlfriend's father's house.
Well, that got complicated to say.
Yeah, Barry goes in there. He's going in there to keep Kusuno from getting in trouble with the father. And lo and behold, the SWAT team's waiting for him. He's arrested, end of season. And now here he is in prison. And everybody's kind of in the wind. Hank and Cristobal have this thing going where they're going to import some really quality sand, because getting houses built where they're at needs good sand, not just the shitty desert sand.
Yeah.
But Barry, walking that line between kind of drama and quirky comedic moments, and doing a good job as usual, I think.
You think?
I'm getting from you that you're not digging it.
I feel like it's just kind of, I don't know, something's lessened for me in it. I don't know. To me, it's kind of like that old, like, how complicated can this story get? Like, where are you going to take it? And it's almost kind of like, okay, you should have maybe stopped it at here, you know? Like, I don't know. It just isn't quite the same for me because the story, like you just kind of explained, like he went to his acting coach's girlfriend's father's house, you know, like, and then, you know, there's the whole kind of double crossing each other and who's with who. And I don't know. It's just getting a little watered down, not too complex. It's just losing some of its, I don't know, luster for me, I guess.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I don't feel that way at all. I was kind of curious how they would continue this Barry stuff while he's in prison. But I think it's playing out really well. You have lots of great characters. And the interesting thing about Barry is like, he wants to be loved. He wants family. And he thinks he's nice and a good person, but he's not trying. He doesn't do, to quote some site I saw, he doesn't want to put the work in. Like it's almost awkward how he kind of says, I love you to Gene Cousineau.
It's kind of creepy to
me.
Like,
I get it. You maybe don't have a father figure, but I don't know. Maybe just either he's messed up from his years of killing people and then, you know, serving in the war before that, or he had a bad childhood. I don't know. But I think it's doing a great job, you know, doing some comedic moments, but some dramedy. It's like the comedy serves the dramedy for the most part.
I think kind of to your point, like Fuchs's handler is kind of like that abusive father. And he's like, what? I did everything for you. And it's like, but you made me kill people and, you know, made me feel like I didn't do a good job. And then like he found this kind of other father figure in Cousineau and he wants the real deal. But because he's flawed and he's a killer, that's probably not going to be possible for him because other people are like, whoa, this guy's a maniac, you know.
And that's the other thing we find out a little more backstory about Barry. Apparently Fuchs has been with Barry since he was a little boy.
Yeah.
I think when the show started, 3-4 years ago, we just assumed Fuchs was some guy who kind of, you know, finds jobs, hit jobs, and Barry's one of the guys he employs. But, you know, we have a flashback to when Fuchs, you know, says hi to then we'll say 8-10-year-old Barry. So there's a history there. And it's interesting, the Fuchs character, like he starts the season off wanting to get Barry thrown, you know, put to jail forever so that he can get out. And he agrees to the FBI's deal to wear a wire. And he goes out in the prison yard and he's just so awkward about wearing the wire to try and snag Barry.
Barry? Let me put you in here.
You know, I was trying to remember something. When you offed that guy, you didn't, I don't know what you did. In Rochester, that businessman, what did you do to him exactly? What?
You were right about Mr. Cousineau. I never should have trusted him.
It's just so funny. Fuchs is just so like, you know, in the movies, they usually, when they're wearing the wire, they're like, they're subtle about getting them to divulge information. But he's just like, hi, Barry, tell me about that time you killed a guy in October of.
Well, I didn't really know what you did. So I'm innocent here. Yeah.
But then Fuchs kind of he decides there's a scene in the prison bathroom where, you know, Barry pisses off the guard and the guard beats the shit out of him. And Fuchs comes in and he rips the wire off his body and comforts Barry. Yeah. He feels this fatherly, paternal thing for Barry. Yeah. But then in like the next episode, Fuchs Barry goes and switches and he's going to do a deal with the FBI. And so Fuchs gets mad at that. And yeah, it's interesting how that relationship moves, changes, comes forward, goes
it's
back.
Just back and forth toxicity there going on, I think, you know.
Absolutely.
They're both conflicted with how they feel about each other and then betray each other. It's like cat and mouse kind of, you know.
But that scene in the episode we watched last night, it was episode 3, where he's being he's debriefing the feds, and he notices Fred Armisen playing a guy in the background who's like sweaty and nervous. And then all of a sudden he's like, that guy's trying to kill me.
That guy's here to kill me.
He's here to kill me.
Yeah.
And then this whole like kind of funny, almost horrible scene plays out where everybody gets killed except Barry. And the episode ends with Barry kind of in the wind.
Sure.
I thought that was a great scene. Like, I love that scene.
Yeah. I mean, it has its moments. I think overall, though, it's lost a little shine for me. It was, the first three, this is season 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah. The first 3 were good and engaging and funny and those good character things. I don't know. It's just kind of maybe an off start for me. We'll see where it goes, though. I'll still watch it and, it is what it is, but.
I find myself interested in all the characters. Like, even when they go to Sally.
Even Sally? Oh, I was going to say, I'm just not interested in her
You don't
story.
think that's great how she's teaching the acting class and she's kind of doing what Kusino did, where she, like, is a big flaming asshole to the students?
Because how did that work out for her?
Exactly. No. But that's interesting.
Mean, that's not really who you want to learn from, is it? Like, I don't know.
Well, it worked for Kristen, the one student who
was
left after everybody left thinking that she's a monster.
I guess. I don't know.
I know. I like the Sally, where Sally's going. The scenes with her parents when she goes back to visit is just touches a nerve for me. And I think there's a lot of like, even the Kusino stuff. And it's got that quirkiness to it that I love.
Yeah.
And I still like Barry.
Yeah.
It's still a great show for me.
All right.
But not for Jody. She hates it.
No, that's not it. It just doesn't have its same sparkle. That's all. I don't hate it. I'll still watch it. It just is different for me this season.
It's the last season.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Moving on to a movie, our final B. It's on HBO Max. The Banshees of Inisherin. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson. It's 1923. They're on an island in Ireland, Inisherin. And the gist of the story on paper should be like boring. Essentially, these 2 old pub buds, they go meet up for a beer every day at 2:00 at the local pub, whatever. One of them says, I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Yeah.
I don't like you anymore. You're boring.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Don't talk to me.
And on paper, you're like, okay, that may be an episode of some show or a short story, but this is a 2-hour movie. But Banshees of Inisherin is, I think, a really good movie.
Huh.
Like, I found it fascinating and engaging the whole time.
It was a little different. I mean, it was engaging. I think mostly because I was like trying to figure out what, why, what's going on here, you know? But I don't know. It was quirky. It was a little different, but it was okay.
It was, it's from the guy who did In Bruges. And In Bruges? I think it's In Bruges. And also 3 Billboards Outside something, Missouri, which was, But the Banshees of Inisherin, it's a great kind of exploration of, relationships and friendships and family to a certain extent.
And human behavior,
maybe even mental health.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Because the guy who doesn't want to be friends, Colum, there's no real solid reason,
right,
why he doesn't want to be friends with Podrick.
I spent most of the movie trying to figure out what that reason really was. Right. Like, okay, what's behind this? There's got to be something else here going on. But
yeah, and I was waiting for some big reveal where Colum says, "Look, I want to separate myself from people I love because I'm dying of cancer, or I can't deal with the pain of." Or
his friend was maybe a little stunted in his growth, and maybe he wanted to see him kind of spread his wings and fly in the world. You know, that's kind of, I don't know. I was kind of getting that feeling too. Like he just doesn't want him to spend his time with an old dude in a pub. I don't know.
Well, yeah, Colum is this fiddle player who. The only real reason we can think of why he doesn't want to be friends with Podrick, Colin Farrell's character, is that he wants to write music, focus on writing music, and not be burdened or slowed down by somebody who's essentially boring. Mm-hmm. And so he's cutting out, because when he goes to the pub, Colum, It's always to meet up with some other fiddle musicians to play music, and he's writing this song. That's really the only vehicle reason as to why he's cutting out this guy who's essentially one of his good friends.
And to me, I'm like, that's not a good enough reason. There's got to be something else to this. Like, you can't do both.
And you're waiting for that to come, and it never really does.
No.
Which is
spoiler.
Which is fine, because then and then at one point he says, if you come again, I'm going to cut off a finger.
Yeah.
And every time you come after that, I'm going to cut off another finger.
Yeah.
So what does he do when Padraig talks to him again? He cuts off a fucking finger.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this movie. And I'm like, whoa.
And
okay.
I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. It probably is, but it gets worse from there.
Right?
I mean, and this is the interesting thing is, like, he essentially cut out this guy from his life, theoretically, because he wants to make music.
Mm-hmm.
And he says as much, like, music, poetry, it all lives forever.
Mm-hmm.
Niceness doesn't. And I have a scene here where he kind of explains that, and Padraig takes exception to that. But it's like, it goes to the mental health stuff, because, like, if you wanted to exercise somebody from your life because they are a distraction from you focusing on your music, why would you cut off your tools?
Right?
Because your left hand fingers are uber important for the fiddle.
Just seems pretty out there. That reaction doesn't, like, it's like times 1,000 for someone just speaking to you. Like, what? You can't just be kind of like acquaintances. Like, maybe you don't hang out as much because you want to make time for your music, but maybe you're still like cool at the pub together, Yeah. I don't know. Like, you don't cut off a finger, for crying out loud.
And look, maybe there's something missing in the Irish culture that we're not aware of when it comes, not the finger thing, but when it comes to, like, ending relationships.
Cutoffs.
Cutting off the relationship. Yeah, maybe there's something like you just flat out tell them, I didn't want to be friends with you anymore.
I don't know.
You're fucking barring. But the scene in the pub where Padraig, Colin Farrell's character, confronts Colin about, he kind of loses his cool and says, look, I may be boring, but I'm nice. And Colin's like, well, niceness doesn't stick.
I don't give a feck about Mozart or Borvolvin or any of them funny name feckers. I'm Pádraig Súilleabháin, and I'm nice. So you'd rather be friends with this fellow, would you? Fella who beats his own son black and blue every night that he's not fiddling with him.
I never told him that, Daddy. He's just drunk now.
You used to be nice. Or did you never used to be? Oh, God. Maybe you never used to be.
He walks out. His sister jumps in.
I'll have a word with him, Colin. You don't need to do anything drastic. He won't be bothering you no more.
That's a shame. It's the most interesting he's ever been. I think I like him again now.
It was the 18th century anyway. Mozart, not the 17th.
I love that little parting shot she had. Because you said earlier, like, somebody 17th century Mozart, But, yeah, it's fascinating ride, and it moves good, great performances.
Yeah.
A lot of facking going on in there.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's a movie that doesn't have hardly any action. There's really no action. There's a couple punches.
Sure.
And that's about it.
Yeah. But there's a couple, like, oh my goodness moments, like, oh, that just happened. I don't know.
And there's a couple funny moments too, for sure.
Yeah.
And a couple sad moments.
Sure.
But,
it's an interesting tale. I'll say that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And let me play Jodie's favorite moment.
This isn't about any Sharon. It's about one boring man leaving another man alone, that's all.
One boring man, you're all feckin' boring. With your piddling grievances over nothing, you're all feckin' boring.
She's right, though.
She is. Like, they're spending all their time arguing over pints in a pub.
You're piddling little grievances. Yeah. Like,
Like,
he could just put up with Padraig.
Right?
And just be like kind of subtly like, Padraig, I need to go over here and play fiddle.
Right? Or like, I can't go with you right now, or I'll see you later at the pub at 4, like, yeah. Yeah. And she's just like fed up with it. She's just like, It's been this way for like life.
Yeah. All I know is after watching Banshees of Inisherin, I want a donkey now.
I want to move to an island off of Ireland.
I know that one scene where Cullum is like sitting on a chair on the beach. He has like his own beach cove and his nice little stone house with the thatch roof.
Yep.
He's just sitting there on the beach. I'm like, nice.
With his dog. Yeah. There were several scenes. I will say cinematically, the kind of the transition shots of like still landscapes around wherever this was filmed. They did really good with composition and coloring and getting that lighting just right. And so you got to see, it wasn't just kind of that dreary, foggy, ocean air, European coast kind of shot. They were very, very different colors and good composition and stuff like that. And I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it just, that's what it looks like wherever they filmed it. But it was pretty awesome for me.
The only thing I didn't like about Banshees is the music.
Same.
I'm not sure if this is like some traditional Irish music, but
I don't know.
It just didn't fit for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the incidental music, like scene transitions were fine and all that, but the main intro music and the outro music just
I know. We both agree on that.
Yeah. Other than that, I love Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I would check it out.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Anything else, darling?
No. I gotta go take care of a sick child.
Yeah, we got a little stomach thing going on. Great.
And I'm still not over illness.
At this rate, we'll be back in late June.
Right? Like, I can't promise you we'll be here next week. Sorry, folks.
We'll try for
we'll
sure.
Try.
And if you do, please tune in. And if you do listen, give us a good review. I read a couple of reviews. They were very nice. And I meant to dig those up so I can thank whoever wrote them. But some nice things. Give us a review on your podcast provider, whether that's Apple Podcasts or the Google Play or Audible or whatever.
Share, tell your friends.
Absolutely. And we'll be back next week.
Next week. Yay.
Until then, for the Married with Channels podcast, I'm Moose.
And I'm Jody.
We'll see you.
Bye.